Here with New Hampshire State Rep Tim Smith. And today Tim presented a bill. And do you want to explain the bill a little bit?
Yep. I introduced a bill. It doesn't have a name or a number yet because the way our legislative process works, the bills don't get named or numbered until much later than after they're filed. And what it basically seeks to do is to prevent scumbag rapists from trying to get child custody rights out of their victims' children. It covers children that might be the result of the rape and children that they may have formerly had with their victim, in case, maybe a marriage goes foul and some shenanigans ensue. That's really something that needs to be addressed under the current law and isn't.
There are 31 states that a rapist can sue for custody, and New Hampshire is one of them, which is super embarrassing.
Yes.
There was a case in Massachusetts in 2011 where a 14-year-old girl was raped by a 20-year-old man, and he pleaded guilty and got 16 years probation. And the courts decided that he would have to pay child support, so for the next 18 years, this 14-year-old girl has to deal with her rapist. They have to go to family court, and the girl and her mother are suing the Commonwealth because they don't want anything to do with him. So in cases like that, would your bill cover situations like the one in Massachusetts?
Kind of. The way that the law works in New Hampshire, there is no actual crime called rape. The act of forcing yourself sexually on someone in New Hampshire is called aggravated felonious sexual assault. Everyone calls it AFSFA for short.
So rape is easier to say. I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a little bit better from a legal perspective that we have it that way because it covers a broader range of sexual crimes than just that one thing. Like, for example, with an underage person like that who can't legally provide consent, it falls under the statute. So, yes, this would prevent that. The mechanisms in the bill also provide for the same conditions if someone pleads guilty or pleads nolo contendere, which in court means they don't admit anything or deny anything, and it carries the same penalty from the judge as if they pled guilty. It's not as strong as it possibly could be, but it can get stronger through amendments, and frankly, this is sort of an entry bill into the subject, and if it passes easily, I'm hoping in subsequent terms I can introduce something that's a little bit more comprehensive, assuming the voters send me back.
What reason do you think people would not vote for this?
To make a really long story short, I didn't know this until I got here, but there's a subsection of the New Hampshire GOP here in the State House who has this weird vendetta against the New Hampshire family courts. I don't know the reasons for it, but anything involving child custody causes them to freak out. And in a case like this, where it's talking about denying parental rights to scumbag rapists, who statistically are usually men, they are going, I suspect a few of them at least, to freak out, because they're all about fathers' rights, which they see, correctly or otherwise, as being denied frequently by the state courts.
Okay, that's embarrassing for our state.
It is, and that should be a very fun floor debate.
What ways, if this bill goes further, can New Hampshire residents support you? What can we do?
The most important thing people can do is to get in touch with your state legislators. As a state legislator, I'll tell you that it does work. I've changed my vote a few times based on overwhelming numbers of people who've called me up on the phone or sent me emails and said, hey, we feel pretty strongly about this. On a normal week when there's nothing contentious going on at the State House, a state legislator only gets 4 or 5 calls from constituents or emails or letters in the mail, letting us know how people feel about stuff. So even just one call to a state rep or a state senator can have a pretty good impact. And the majority of us are regular folks who answer our own phone, so if you give us a call, we're usually the one who answers. So really, in terms of any activism, the most important thing anyone can do is just to personally reach out and get in touch with their state representative and state senator and let them know, this is important to me, I'd like you to go forward with it.
Yes, activism. Next question. Regarding all of the bills and legislation around the country against birth control, reproductive rights, abortion, do you think Rick Perry has vagina envy?
I'd say that there's a pretty good chance that he does. He seems incredibly concerned with what's going on there, so it makes me think that, maybe he's upset that he couldn't buy one or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
Because
It's
he's
really
all about the free market, and when something's not for sale, he just wants to get involved.
So, you always want what you can't have. My last question, and this is a very serious question, I'm actually very concerned about it, is speaking of activism and calling people, I call John Boehner all the time. Like, once a day. And I